Hello friends, this video on dual nature of radiation and matter part 14 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 13 before going ahead with part 14. Let us look at problem 12. It says ultraviolet light of wavelength 2271 angstrom from a 100-watt mercury source irradiates a photocell made of molybdenum metal. Okay, so that means the wavelength of incident light lambda is given as 2271 angstrom, which is 2271 into 10 to the power minus 10 meters. If the stopping potential is 1.3 volts, estimate the work function of the metal. We have to calculate the work function. So let us make use of Einstein's photoelectric equation. So as per Einstein's equation, h nu is equal to phi naught plus k max. Now h nu can be written as hc by lambda. This is equal to phi naught plus k max can be written as E into V naught, where V naught is the stopping potential. So from this, phi naught is equal to hc by lambda minus E V naught. Let us put the values now. H is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 34. C is 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by lambda is 2271 into 10 to the power minus 10 minus E is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into V naught is 1.3 volts. Now on calculating this, you get phi naught, which comes out to be 6.64 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules. So this is the work function of the metal. Now the second part of the problem asks, how would the photocell respond to a high intensity red light of wavelength 6328 angstrom produced by a helium neon laser? So now we assume that the metal still remains the same, but now we are using a different incident light. We are using a different light of different wavelength. So what is the wavelength of this red light? It is 6328 angstrom. That is 6328 into 10 to the power minus 10 meters, right? So this is the wavelength which we are using now. Now in the previous part, we have calculated the work function phi naught, and phi naught is equal to h nu naught, where nu naught is the cutoff frequency. So let us calculate the value of cutoff frequency. It comes out to be phi naught by h, which is 6.64 into 10 to the power minus 19 divided by 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 34. So this comes out to be 1.006 into 10 to the power 15 hertz. So this is the cutoff frequency. That means if the frequency of the incident light is below this frequency, then photoelectric emission will not take place. That means the photocell will not respond at all. But if the frequency of the incident light is greater than this frequency, then the photocell will respond. So let us calculate the frequency of the red light. So the frequency of the red light will be equal to C by lambda I. That is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by 6328 into 10 to the power minus 10. So this comes out to be 4.74 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Now which is smaller? So we see that the frequency of red light is smaller than the threshold frequency. Therefore, the photocell would not respond. Right? So you see, we have solved so many problems based on just one Einstein's photoelectric equation. It is just that the problems will be written in different ways, but the concept will still remain the same. Here comes problem 13. Monochromatic radiation of wavelength 640.2 nanometers from a neon lamp irradiates photosensitive material made of cesium on tungsten. Okay. The stopping voltage is measured to be 0.54 volts. The source is replaced by an iron source and its 427.2 nanometer line irradiates the same photocell. Here also the same thing. First, we are using a light or a radiation of wavelength 640.2 nanometers. Later, we are keeping the same metal, but we are changing the incident radiation. So next time we are using a radiation of wavelength 427.2 nanometers. In the first case, the stopping potential is found to be 0.54 volts. Now, the question asks us to predict the new stopping voltage. So let us apply. Now, we know that Einstein's equation is h nu is equal to phi naught plus k max. So this can be written as hc by lambda is equal to phi naught plus ev naught. So now we will apply this equation to both the cases. So in the first case, it will become hc by lambda 1 is equal to phi naught plus ev naught. And in this case, it becomes hc by lambda 2 is equal to phi naught plus ev naught dash. Right? So from this we can say phi naught is equal to hc by lambda 1 minus ev naught. From this we can say phi naught is equal to hc by lambda 2 minus ev naught dash. So from these two equations 1 and 2, we see that the left hand side is the same. Therefore, the right hand side should also be same. So we can say hc by lambda 1 minus ev naught should be equal to hc by lambda 2 minus ev naught dash. So this can be written as hc by lambda 1 minus ev naught minus hc by lambda 2 is equal to minus ev naught dash, or we can say v naught dash is equal to v naught plus hc by e lambda 2 minus hc by e lambda 1. So this in turn can be written as v naught plus hc by e into 1 by lambda 2 minus 1 by lambda 1. So now we'll put the values. So we get v naught plus 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 34 into 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into 1 by lambda 2, which is 427.2 minus 1 by lambda 1, that is 640.2. So therefore, v naught dash comes out to be 2.401 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules, which when converted into electron volts by dividing 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, it becomes 1.5 electron volts. So this would be the new stopping potential when the new light of the new wavelength is used. Now let us look at the last problem of this lesson. It says a proton and an electron have same de Broglie wavelength. Which of them moves fast and which possess more kinetic energy? So let us write down the de Broglie wavelength for proton. It will be lambda divided by mp Vp. Let us also write it for electron. It is h divided by MeVe. Right? Now we can see that the kinetic energy of proton is half mPVp square. So this can be written as 2 into Kp is equal to mPVp square, or this can be written as 2 Kp is equal to mPVp whole square divided by mp. So we can write it as, what is mass into velocity? It is nothing but the momentum basically. I'm sorry, we really didn't need to do this because we want this value, MP into VP. Now, just remove this step. What we can do, we can put a square root on both sides. MP VP square. So what do we get? We get root over 2 KP is equal to root over MP into VP. Or we can multiply root over MP on both sides. So we get root over 2 KP MP is equal to MP VP. So now we have got the value for MP VP. Therefore, we can say lambda P is equal to H divided by root over 2 KP MP. Right? Similarly, we can do it for electron and we get lambda E is equal to H divided by root over 2 KE ME. Now, according to the question, it says that proton and electron have same de Broglie wavelength. That means lambda P is equal to lambda E. Therefore, H divided by root over 2 KP MP is equal to H divided by root over 2 KE ME. So cancelling on both sides, we are left with 1 by KP MP is equal to 1 by KE ME. Therefore, KE by KP is equal to MP by ME. So the ratio of the kinetic energy is inversely proportional to the ratio of the masses of proton and electron. Now we know that mass of proton is greater than mass of electron, which implies that MP by ME is greater than 1. Therefore, KE by KP, which is equal to MP by ME, is also greater than 1. Or we can say kinetic energy of electron is greater than kinetic energy of proton. So one part of the problem is solved. Now the question is, which will have a greater velocity? Again, we know that, now for the second part, again we know that lambda P, that is the wavelength of proton, is equal to the wavelength of electron. So from this we can write H divided by MP into VP is equal to H divided by ME into VE. So this H will get cancelled. So we get velocity of electron by velocity of proton is equal to mass of proton by mass of electron. Since mass of proton is greater than mass of electron, this implies MP by ME is greater than 1. Therefore, VE by VP is also greater than 1. This implies velocity of electron is greater than velocity of proton. So thus we can say that even if a proton and a neutron have same de Broglie wavelength, but the velocity of electron and the kinetic energy of electron will be greater than that of proton. So now we have solved a couple of problems, and I hope that the concept of photoelectric effect as well as the concept of dual nature of radiation and matter is clear to you, and you also got some idea about how to approach problems. Right? So practice more problems so that things become easier for you. Wish you good luck for your exams. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.